So over the last few months we've talked about things like how to take a good band photo and how to write a good band bio. Today I'm going to talk to you about putting those things together and creating an electronic press kit. EPK for short. Okay, so what is an EPK and what is it used for? So an EPK, as I said in the intro of this video, is an electronic press kit. It's basically a digital pamphlet that contains all the information that someone like a manager, an agency, a record label, a festival booker might need in order to determine whether or not your band is of interest to them or not. An EPK is a really handy way of getting all the relevant information about your music, bundling it together in a nice, concise and branded package and sending it off to people. Because an ideal EPK is going to be concise and not overloaded with spam and just bollocks that people don't really care about, it's a really good way of helping these people to do their job quicker. So when you're sending an EPK to someone else, be it a potential manager, a booking agent, a festival, a sync company, a record label, you don't just want to send them a link to your EPK. Think of it as like applying for a job. Send an email that explains why you are interested in working with this party, and in that email include a link to your EPK and a link to your music. If your music hasn't been released yet, make sure it's a private link. This just makes it a little bit more professional and exclusive to the person that you're sending it to. This is because that people need to read your email and listen to your music before they decide to look into the EPK. The EPK isn't necessarily the first thing that people are going to look at. It's not the first impression. So one thing that I do recommend when you're creating an EPK is do it online. A lot of artists create PDFs or JPEG images of their EPKs, which is great, but 55% of emails nowadays are opened on phones, and these aren't necessarily that friendly with phone users. So just make it online. There's some really good websites to help you out with this. I like to use presskit.to. Presskit.to has a lot of presets and layouts that already look really good. So when you put your really good information in there that we have already kind of taught you how to do from the videos we've made in the past, it should be a great EPK. So arguably the most important thing for your EPK is a high quality image of your band, or just yourself if you are a solo artist. We have made a video on taking good band photos in the past, so if you want some more information about that, just click up there. So once you've got your really good image, you need a summary about you and your music. This should be no more than 2 sentences. It should contain your band or artist name, where you're from, and one significant achievement. This could be, Matt Damon is a solo artist from the USA who has hit 950 million streams on Spotify as of last week. Just something simple and concise like that. This will be the determining factor on whether people decide to read on or not.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
Let's say that I didn't want to use a website and I was going to send everything in a Dropbox. How would you like me to present that sentence? Would I put that in the email to the person, or would I put it in a Word document?
Yes.
You put it in the
I would put it in both. I'd put that one small sentence in the email and put it at the top of your bio as well. However, I wouldn't recommend doing it as a Dropbox because that forces people to download things, and the viewing documents process on Dropbox isn't as good as presskit.to. This is, funnily enough, not a sponsored video by presskit.to. I just think they're really good.
There will be other people out there that are doing websites that do the thing, so do your research, don't just jump.
I mean, you can just do it on like Wix or something. You can just make a website that contains all this information, or you can do it on Sonic Bids, or there's loads of platforms to do it on, but Presskit is just my personal favourite. Next, your EPK needs to contain all the latest news. This also should be really concise. It should be all the major gigs that you've played in the last year, and maybe 1 or 2 other achievements. Like, say you've got 5 bullet points. Do it as played Why Not Festival, played Reading Festival, was synced into Hollyoaks, and like was played on radio, and just a few other things like that. Just really brief, concise statements that just describe how well you're doing as an artist. If you're a beginner artist, then I would probably say to omit this until you have things to talk about. Maybe just put a few bullet points in there that are the recent gigs that you've played, or when you first launched, or when you released your first single.
Don't do bullshit.
No, don't lie, first of all. Don't lie, and don't try and butter up your statements by saying, we've packed out gigs across the UK, when you've just played a gig in Leeds and one in London, and they were both like marginally full. Just say, has gigged in London at this venue, has gigged in Leeds at this venue. And don't say that you've got critical acclaim for your singles if you haven't been reviewed yet.
One that really bugs me, the long-awaited debut single or like that kind of bollocks that's just not...
Yeah, you actually sound better not including this kind of shit, because when 9 out of 10 bands include the long-awaited, packed-out venues, just like all that padded... Thundering drums bullshit, like booming riffs and epic vocals, like that's not good ways of describing your band. If you cut all that bullshit out and you just state the fact, that is what people are interested in. Next, you want to put your bio in. I'm not going to talk about writing a bio here because we've made a full video on it, so again, click up there if you want some more information about that. So along with the email that you've sent that contains a link to your EPK and the link to your music, if it's on a private link, if it's been unreleased, put that link in your EPK as well. Press Kit actually allows you to embed like SoundCloud players on your press kit, so that's like really good. It means that people don't actually have to navigate away from the page to listen to your music, which is really good. One of the main things to consider with this is you need to expect everyone who's reading your press kit to be lazy as fuck. So make everything really easy to access and easy to understand. Then, you don't necessarily need this, but I would probably recommend it. Have a page that is something of a photo video gallery that has maybe 10 or so really high quality images. I mean, this is totally up to you. You can have as many as you want, but I wouldn't fill this page with like 50 really awesome looking pictures, or especially like if they're not that awesome looking. If you have 50 awesome looking pictures, then pick the best and it'll look even better. This only really applies if you're sending your EPK to things like festivals or booking agents, but it's always handy to have your tech rider, so your tech spec, on your EPK somewhere, either as a downloadable PDF or just an image that is on there that talks about what your setup is and how difficult it's going to be to get you on stage and get you sounding good. I've known it to happen in the past where someone will look at an EPK thinking, oh, this band's really good, I'm gonna put these on, and then when they ask for the tech rider later, it's just something that you can't accommodate. So it's really handy for the person reading this EPK to be able to check whether they can accommodate your needs before they even contact you back. Again, if this is not for live shows, if you're just sending it to a record label, then this isn't really relevant. But actually, no, fuck that statement off, because having a tech rider on your EPK shows that you've thought about it. Showing that you actually think about things is a real draw factor for a record label, because most bands don't think about that kind of shit, and showing that you do is a big selling point.
Go you.
Go you. So the final thing to include is your contact details. If you have a label manager, put their email on there. If you have a booking agent, put their email. Preferably put the band's email on there as well. A lot of people tend to forget this. A lot of people on their Facebook will put, oh, this is our booking agent, oh, this is our PR person, and they don't actually put a contact email for either the management or the band, which is a bit shit, so just bear that in mind. If you have a strong brand or personality, this really needs to be reflected in your EPK. This could be from making sure all the colours fit into your branding, making sure all your images fit with your colours that also fit with your branding, making sure that all the text that you write reflects the opinions and voice of your band. This is something that a lot of people don't really consider, but if you're trying to be a fun band, a fun, happy indie band, and then you're writing your bio in the third person, or you're trying to be really corporate, it just comes off as a bit pretentious and a bit dickish. So make sure you're always writing from the perspective of the character that you are while you're in your band, because a lot of people aren't themselves when they're in a band. A lot of people, and it's not so much portraying a character, but you kind of have to take on that band, that musician persona when you're playing music. If you got on stage and you were playing your guitar and you were like, hi mum, hi Janet, then it doesn't seem authentic and it pulls people out of the performance. So you have to make sure that your voice is reflected in everything that you write.
And appearing, like the photos and the videos and everything, which you should already be doing anyway, but the EPK should be consistent. Yeah, your brand should have been finalised before you start making an EPK, ideally. But if it hasn't and you're thinking about making an EPK, stop trying to make an EPK and go and sort your brand out first. You can't really make an EPK without a brand, without good photos, without a bio, without enough information to warrant people actually looking at it. So that's pretty much it. I hope that's been somewhat informative of how to create an EPK and what they are used for. I honestly think that EPKs aren't being used as much anymore. Well, all this information generally is, you can find it online anyway. Like bios, like Facebook always has an option for a bio, Spotify does. So if you really want to find out about a band, you can. You don't need an EPK. I
think because people are becoming ever more fickle and impulsive, and like the attention span of people is decreasing, you have to make your EPK as concise as possible, which is why things like artist decks have come into play, where it is just an image with the Spotify stats on it and that is it. So it's up to you how much time and how much effort you want to put into this, but if you want it to be good, keep it looking good, keep it concise, and keep it informative. If you want to see more videos from this series, click over this side of the screen, and if you want to see our best of playlist, click over there, and have a lovely day. I'm not even going to talk about the state of Lightroom because we've been doing this has been an ongoing thing for a few months now. It's stopped being funny, it's a fucking shit tip. Lenny, sort it out, please.
It's alright.